Okay, so we were discussing about how to actually write the code for publish subscribe or pub/sub or eventing in C#. Okay, so as we discussed in the video, like we need three different things. One is a publisher, one is a subscriber, and one is the arguments that we'll be sending. So let's actually create. So we'll come over here and we'll actually add a file. We'll say event arguments. I am typing with caps, so event arguments.cs. Okay, so we need three files. One is event arguments.cs. Another thing that we need is publisher, and the third thing we need is subscriber. Okay, so we have three different things. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to actually send the arguments. Like let's say I'm passing a message, right? The message will be a string. So I will create, I'll say using system. Okay, and then I will say class event arguments, which is a type of event args. Okay, and let's say I want to send a string. And I'll move this so I can type. Okay, and this is message. Okay, so that's the message that I want to do, want to send, and I will say public event arguments, and when I initialize it, I will send a message. Okay, and I'll say this dot message is equal to message. Okay, that's as simple as that. Okay, so we created a function for the event arguments. These are the event arguments. This is the event argument that publisher will send to all its subscribers. So now we have publisher.cs. So we'll say using system, and then we will say class publisher. Okay, and let's add a name to the publisher. So we'll say string. Okay, so that's the name. And then what we will have is we will have a public event, which is an event handler. Okay, and this event handler will send the arguments. So the kind of arguments it will send is the event arguments. So we are saying that we are creating an event handler. We are creating a public event handler, and we'll call this as my event. Okay, so my event is a event which is a type of event handler, and it will send event arguments. Okay, so that's the event. Then we need public void notify. So there's a notify function, and notify with a string message. Okay, so first thing we'll check, we'll create an event argument, right? So we will say event argument is equal to new event argument with the message. Okay, and then we'll check if my event is not equal to null. What we will do is we will raise the event this comma arguments that we are sending is AIGS. So that's all we are going to do. So the notify function, what will happen is for the publisher, if it wants to notify, it will send a string in this. We will create the arguments with this string, and then we'll check if this event is not null. Then what we'll do is we'll send this. This means that the publisher, so we'll send the publisher and we'll send the arguments, right? And this will be the sender, and this will be the arguments, which will be taken by the on the subscriber side. So let's write the class for subscriber. So we'll say using system, okay, and class subscriber, and subscriber will have three different functions. Subscribe, which will take a publisher, okay, and there will be unsubscribe, and then there will be update function, update function will actually have an object sender, comma, event arguments called args. Okay, so what will happen is when the publisher raises this event, it is sending two of these values. One is the publisher itself and one is the argument. We have to catch that on the subscriber side. So on the subscriber side, we have a sender, which will be the publisher, and then we have the arguments. Okay, so what in the subscribe function, what we will say is we'll say publisher dot my event plus is equal to update, and in the unsubscribe, what we'll say is minus is equal to. So what we are saying is when we call the subscribe function for this publisher, we will say that whenever the publisher raises this event, call my update function. And for unsubscribe, what we'll do is if the publisher actually has me inside that list, remove me and do not call my update function. Let's actually write the update function for this. So we'll say console.writeLine, and we'll say actually first we'll get the publisher. So we'll say publisher pub is equal to publisher sender. Okay, so we cast the sender inside a publisher, and then we'll say pub.name plus send a message, and the message is plus args dot message. Okay, so that's all we actually have to do. So let's see how this whole thing works in our program.cs. So first thing what we'll do is we'll just create one publisher. So we'll say publisher pub1 is equal to new publisher, and let's give it a name. So we'll say pub1 is dot name is equal to pub1. Okay, so let's say that was the pub1, and let's create three subscribers. So subscriber sub1 is equal to new subscriber, and we'll create three of them. So we created three of the publishers, one publisher, three subscriber, and now we'll subscribe. So subscriber one dot subscribe, and we are subscribing to pub1. Okay. So we'll have all the three subscribe to that. Okay, and then we'll say pub1 dot notify, and we'll say this is first message. Okay, and after that, let's say subscriber 2, let's say this is subscriber 2 and this is 3, and we'll say subscriber 2 dot unsubscribe, and for the publisher 1. Okay, so the subscriber 2 unsubscribe. So after this, if the pub1 calls the notify, the second one will not be notified. So this message will not show up for sub 2. We should actually have had a name for the subscriber 2 so we can see which one is getting called, but that's okay. We'll just get 2 messages when this thing is done. So let's actually put a breakpoint over here and we'll say start debugging, and we reach over here. So once we do that, you can see on over here that as soon as this notifies, all the 3 people will actually be notified. So I do F10 and you can see pub1 send a message, pub1 send a message, pub1 send a message. Now subscriber 2 is unsubscribed. When I call this again, then you can see that only 2 messages got published. So that's a very, very simple thing for a simple code for publish and subscribe PubSub design pattern in C# using eventing. Thank you.